What is up, Watchers? My name is WatcherDogs XD2, and we're doing the Real2Real podcast, episode 3. Today, as always, I'm joined by Caleb, and we have two guest stars today, Jack and Riot.
Hi.
So, again, we have Jack here too, but he's not really talking as much. Today's main topic that we are doing is going to be mainly about the YouTube algorithm as a whole. I know in the title it just says YouTube slash violence, but today's topic is more about just YouTube's algorithm as a whole. And it's, to be honest, YouTube's algorithm has changed so much. And since 2005, when YouTube really came out, the algorithm was fairly simple. It was just whatever video got the most likes, that's what really was put out to people. Now you have to actually have a proper setting, proper time. You have to upload at certain times in order to have certain things be put onto your For You page, or onto your recommended, sorry. And YouTube's algorithm is so weird.
That, and they make it to where some channels don't get the recognition they need or deserve because of notifications.
Exactly. What Yes, but going back on to topic, the YouTube algorithm has gotten to a point where not a lot of people understand how it works. YouTube algorithm now, especially for this channel alone, has gotten to a point. Even Riot's channel over here, like we can't even make it on YouTube right now, only for the fact that YouTube's algorithm is all over the place. It's really gotten to a point where you have to actually think about what's going on. You have to think about, oh, is this content really going to be for people? Who am I? What target audience am I reaching for? What everything am I reaching for? And personally, I don't think that's how it should work. I mean, it should work kind of like that, but not fully going straight for it.
Is it good that their creativity is limited? So,
And that's kind of the point of both. my YouTube and Twitch, I personally don't care. I've gotten to a point in my life where if I'm gonna sit there and be worried about how someone thinks of me, then I they don't deserve to be watching. And it's not really deserves; it's they shouldn't be watching if they get offended. And that's where another thing where the YouTube algorithm comes into play is that if you get offended by a certain topic on YouTube, then YouTube will stop putting out all sorts of content for that topic, and even topics connected to that. Like if you're getting offended by a certain game, YouTube will stop recommending certain channels to you because of games related to a certain game.
Depends on what c word. Are you talking about the word? And excuse my language. Are you talking about the word cunt? Oh, that. And see, that's what I don't get. Why would YouTube flag and take down videos that talk about that sickness? I mean, it's a sickness. It ain't like you talking about going out or talking about people raping little girls or whatever. Like you just talking about a fucking sickness.
And it gets YouTube has gotten to a point where it's hard, and Twitch has also gotten to that point where it's just hard to stream there without the algorithm for these platforms to just say we're done with you. Which is the reason why a lot of streamers are actually switching over to YouTube right now from Twitch to YouTube because of a Twitch isn't wanting to pay them enough, or B, they're not doing well. And I fully understand that for the fact that Twitch just doesn't care enough. And it again, it's sad to say that, but like Twitch really doesn't care enough. Now, I will say Twitch is trying their hardest to do something, but they're not fully able to make it work because of how they're going about it. And going about it in a certain way can actually ruin your platform or increase it depending on how you're really trying to make it out to be. And it just depends on the platform, it depends on the person, it depends on how you're thinking, what your thought process is. And really, it just depends on who you are anymore. If Twitch or YouTube suspects you of being underage or someone that's not popular enough on either platform, they stop promoting you. And until you agree to by their terms, then you won't get promoted on the recommendeds at all. Which it sucks, but that's just how it is. And I hate to say it that way, but to all the small streamers out there, all the small YouTubers out there, it is a hard time trying to make it.
And it's sad but true.
Go ahead, Riot. Mm-hmm. Sure. Just talk about it. As soon as the video got published.
See, that's the thing.
And that's a huge problem.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like they were doing a lot better when they stuck with people because now people are like, they won't even, like, a lot of people nowadays, and I know this from experience because that's the reason I don't really record anymore, is because I don't want to take the time to think about, oh, this is gonna get demonetized just because I'm playing a fucking game, dude. If I want to play a game for an audience, like any audience, I don't want to sit here and worry about if I might be fucking demonetized or whatever because of fucking how the game is, you know? I mean, like, you could be sitting there playing fucking Galga for all YouTube cares, and that shit could get demonetized. Galga's, for anyone who doesn't know Galga, I suggest you go to your local arcade and try that game out because, for one, I highly recommend it. Like, very fun. But not the point. The point is, it's a game like there's like no nudity, no real actual violence in it, right? Well, you could play that game and still get demonetized with the way this algorithm shit's going now, and it's
Yeah.
very, very stupid. Honestly, I feel like if YouTube went back to having actual people do the work instead of AI, YouTube would actually be top fucking app again. Because that's the reason that a lot of people don't really be using YouTube or anything like that no more is because of this algorithm bullshit. Like, if they would use, like, actual people and, like, take the time like they should be doing, I mean, if you're gonna make an app that gets, like, absolutely fucking huge, you want it to last for a fucking long ass time. And yes, YouTube has lasted for a long ass time, but it could last even longer and like still have top spot for so much longer
Yeah.
if it would actually like if the creators, like the devs of it, would actually take the time to have people on it instead of actual um what you would call it, AI. Because the AI is what's really fucking it up for a lot of people. And
Yeah.
that's like what I was trying to say is the AI is the reason YouTube is not top app on really any app store anymore. It's not top website either. Like you go to apps like Spoon or whatever, which is a podcast app. You can have absolutely no fucking filter there. Like you can say what the fuck you want and no one will come after you. No,
Yeah.
you don't exactly make money off of it, no, but you can get what you want to say out there. You can put your own content out there and stuff like that. You may not be able to do videos as of yet, but you can talk about shit that you like really think needs to get out there.
Yeah, which is
Like,
another reason why, like, me and Caleb here have actually created this podcast was because we're trying to get these topics put out to you guys so you guys can look at it and try and help make YouTube, the world, just a better place in general.
yep. And see,
Which, go
YouTube
ahead.
used to be a place where you could like really talk about shit. You know, like hell, even if you didn't want to talk about shit, you could honestly play basically any game you want, any gameplay like style that you want, and put that shit up, and you wouldn't get demonetized, nothing, because they didn't give a fuck for the longest amount of time. But I tell you why they
And
started giving a fuck. Because of all the fucking petty ass snowflake ass people in this world. And if I'm honest, it's stupid because why appeal to those who have a hard time liking a lot of things when you could appeal to the bigger audience who likes a
Yeah.
lot more, and you could make so much more money and profit off that. You could help out so many more people. You could, like, it's stupid, man. Because
Yeah.
because of one selective group nowadays, so much has changed. All
Yeah.
these snowflake people in the world have made it to where, like, things can't even be simple anymore. Like, something as simple as literally playing a game while recording and, like, uh, playing a game while recording and putting that shit up. That's supposed to be the most simple shit in the entire fucking world. Alright? And guess how difficult every bit of this, like, fucking algorithm bullshit's making it?
And
It's
that's a
making it to. My bad. But
uh,
it's making it to where a lot of. Even the big YouTubers, like, are struggling. Like, Corey Kenshin, right? He's struggling right now because of this bullshit. What has he ever done wrong in his videos? Hell, he censors himself in his videos. He doesn't say fuck. He says freak. Like, what the freak, dude? Like, he censors himself. And he's, like, one of the most, if not the most, family friendly YouTuber out there, right? Like, gameplay YouTuber, I mean. And he's even having a hard time. So it's like, he followed all the stupid rules. He, like, participated in all your stupid little bullshit nitpicking, YouTube. And fucking,
and then gets
he,
blasted
like,
for it.
exactly.
And
Like,
that's a crazy
nobody can
thing.
ever nobody can ever win, so what's the point? Like, doesn't matter if you're good, doesn't matter if you're bad. You follow the rules, you still get blasted. It's stupid. It's it's stupid.
And that's a crazy thing about like gaming on YouTube in general. It's not been out but a little over 10 years. Gaming on YouTube didn't really get popular until like 2011, 2012. And about 2015, from what I remember, Jacksepticeye was doing his stuff. There was PewDiePie who was doing it just 3 or 4 years prior. There was Markiplier who did it like almost a year and a half after PewDiePie. All these gaming YouTubers who's come so far, they've gotten as far as they are because of them
They
starting
were there
so
at the
early.
very start. They were there at
And
the very start.
we've gotten to a point in not even just the gaming side of YouTube. We've got in even the uh, music side, even normal videos like mukbangs, all that. You have to be so careful with your words, so careful with everything you do, every little thing. That's the reason why my videos are the way they are. That's the reason why Riot's videos are the way that they are. We just stop caring, and if YouTube sees it the way that it does, and in my opinion, so be it. I'm not gonna stop doing what I do because I'm wanting to grow my chat, my subscribers. I'm wanting it to
Audience.
grow like a my audience. I want it to grow as a community. I'm not wanting it to grow as me trying to get a job. I mean, if it happens that way, then it happens. But I just mainly want everyone to really get together, be yourselves in the comments, be yourselves in chat, and talk to each other. Raise each other up. Don't bring each other down. It's hard to look at YouTube's algorithm and say that it's a good one anymore. It's hard to look at any like platform's algorithm anymore and say, "Oh, they're doing good." Which now really brings us into the whole.
You said lift each other up and not bring each other down. And honestly, we agreed not to talk about politics, and it's so hard for me not to right there. Ooh.
Which brings us into the other topic about the whole Corey Kenshin thing, right? You wanted to mainly talk about that, so you take lead here. The mortuary assistant, yeah. Yeah.
He's talking racism. I tell you exactly why all of it's happening, and I know this because of just nowadays.
Uh, I'm gonna butt in for a quick second. Um, the way that it seems as you're explaining it, it sounds like he did the right thing, and he got his video greenlit. But it sounds like he did that second video, or that after that second video, that's when it ended up, or after he went into talking to them and everything and showed them and everything. After that first video, that's where it really showed the YouTube that it shouldn't be put back.
It sets off a few. It sets off a few alarms, red flags.
It depends on what your search history is.
Typically, the first thing I see if I start a new account is sports.
You okay? This I have tested this out on 30 or 40 different accounts, and all the time, it's normally the top liked videos in history. Once you start looking for specific things, that's when it starts recommending you things. Or when you start clicking on certain videos, it starts recommending you videos that depend or related to that video, and that's how it goes off. So it's not a problem with how YouTube's recommendation algorithm is going. It's a problem with how YouTube's algorithm is for the monetization feedback.
Oh no, it's a problem with both. Like, oh no. Like here,
And sometimes being silent is a better option. Because if you speak up for yourself, yeah, you're going to get your point across, but you're going to end up hurting a lot more than just yourself.
but here, I'll tell you exactly why all this is going on. YouTube is desperate for people, workers more specific, and they're hiring anybody at this point, right? It doesn't matter who. I'm sure they'll hire racists. I'm sure they'll hire petty ass snowflake motherfuckers. Uh, and I'm sure they'll hire anybody, just so long as they're willing to do a specific job. They don't care how they do it, what they do with their power, anything like that. They hire them for the specific purpose of it's either them or nobody. And honestly, I would just put in the extra work and have nobody else do it, or I would actually go out and look for actual like decent people to like help run it, Like either way, I wouldn't hire petty people, I wouldn't hire racist people because if you start hiring petty, racist, snowflake motherfuckers, like it doesn't matter like who, why, when, where, what for, there's gonna be bias.
Yeah.
Racist people are biased. Snowflake people are biased. Petty people biased. And so are so many other groups. Um, entitled people are just snobby. They don't give a fuck about nobody else other than themselves.
Which that brings up a Riot. You actually brought up a good point, which actually kind of leads us into the next part, the whole Andrew Tate thing. Now, this is
There's a
gonna.
topic.
Now, this is actually gonna get a bit in depth, chat. Uh, Trigger warning for like, be wary. If you're not comfortable watching or listening, then you might want to click off the video now. Or
Honestly, I'm gonna be straight up with you. You're doing a lot more of a courtesy for these people than I would. I wouldn't say no fucking trigger warning. I wouldn't say none of that. I would just go straight into it. So
now,
props to you
going
for
on
being
to the
willing
Andrew
to.
Tate thing. I'm not gonna hold back, chat. So, from my understanding, from what I've been able to read on the internet, what I've seen about Andrew Tate, let me give you guys a bit of a backstory behind him. He was a guy apparently supposed to be bullied in school. He was a guy that ended up actually doing all this shit, and now he's a really popular person, and that popularity has given him an ego. Considering the fact that he's gotten such an ego on his head now, that he's made it upon himself to become a influencer. And being that type of an influencer with as much of a following as he has gotten him in so much trouble recently. He's, from my knowledge, is that giving, he's putting misogyny back into the world. And looking at that, that's a horrible thing. Now, I actually respected him for a while. I did. And after seeing everything that's come about of him, I really want him to die in a fucking hole. He's became to a point where he's trying to teach the younger audience to stand up for themselves, which is good, but he's teaching them to stand up for themselves in a wrong way. He's teaching them to stand up for themselves by fighting as soon as possible, get into it, and immediately backstab the people who are just trying to give you props. Which is not the way to go about things. Going off of that, he's shown a certain kid, I'm not going to say their name, to end up who's actually looked up to this person, to look up to Andrew Tate. He's basically showed this kid that it's okay to go and bully bully this little girl at school because of her weight, to bully this girl for every possible thing. And it's not okay to look at someone who is as big of an influencer as Andrew Tate and say, "Oh yeah, this is fine. This is okay." And
If
it's
I'm gonna be honest here, did he ever really say bullying was okay? Did he ever directly or indirectly say it with words?
indirectly he has said it. And and in the ways that he's said things, it's gotten to a point where we should not trust this dude. And I'm sorry to say it that way for everyone who does look up to him. You should stop because he's creating a violent acts. He's creating children who want to act out violently. He's creating a world and a society basically like saying, "Oh, it's okay to do this shit. It's okay to be an asshole to people. It's okay to ruin other people's lives for your own gain." When it's really not. And to be honest, if this video ever does make it out to Andrew Tate, fuck you. I'm honestly trying to when I have if and when I have kids, or if I become a stepdad, or if I become a dad, I'm going to teach my kids to respect everyone until proven otherwise that they don't deserve your respect. That's how I've lived my life. And I've probably said that a lot in my past videos on this channel, on other people's
At
channels,
the same time,
ever.
though, at the same time, though, I'm sorry for interrupting. He does speak quite a bit about respecting people who deserve respect. Yes, maybe he does get the point across wrong every now and then, but if you think about all the different ways that his words could be taken, at least one out of those infinite possibilities are a positive way of thinking. If you think about every possible way that he says things or that his words could be taken, he, give me a sec, he doesn't exactly say that you can be a bully without consequences. He said if you're gonna choose to do something, do it. But I remember specifically seeing in one video with him, like a recent video of him actually stating, you can do what you want in this world, but there will always be consequences.
Yeah, but considering the fact of how he has created such a society who looks at him in a different light than what reality is, they're not going to look at it as and take his words exactly to the point of what it is. They're looking at it as a fact that they're looking up to him so they can see what they should be doing. And most of the time, it's not just, they're looking at every single video. Now, I have seen a lot of his videos, and I've watched them recently in disgust because of how he's treated the internet, of how he's been treating everyone. There was a video that I watched of him one time where he was talking about uh, he drove his Bugatti to a parking lot and comes out of wherever he was, and it was gone. Immediately, his first thought is someone stole it. I mean, you have a really nice car. It's a Bugatti. That thing's worth probably anywhere between $4.8 billion to being $17 billion. But considering that fact, like, do you think someone's really gonna want to steal your car in an area that you are? Considering the fact, unless you live in, say, an area where it is known to have a lot of thefts like that, then yeah, you want to be cautious. But if you're living in an area that's not known to have that, don't just assume immediately that it's going to be someone stealing your car. Yeah, report it to the police that your car is gone, but still look at where it is.
At
And
the same
literally
time, though,
after that after that, he immediately said that he found the car, that it was not stolen, that he just did not remember where it was parked, and he beat up someone for that fact, that he thought they were stealing his car.
I mean, then again, you also, in any country, uh, whether it be wherever he is or wherever we are, you have the right to protect your property. And if you think somebody stole it, you do have the right to confront them about it. Yes, I'm saying you can beat up a person over stuff like that, but not in the way you think.
I'm
You would
gonna
have to
cut
actually
you
have
off right there
solid
for that.
evidence.
Now, I'm not a law student, but I do study law. Only for the fact that I want to know about this kind of stuff and understand more. And the law has dictated that you can protect your stuff as long as you're not using any physical harm to the other person or using any physical weaponry threatening.
Yo,
If
I'm
you
going
do
turn in for the
that,
night.
it gets to a point where you can be charged with assault with a deadly weapon. You can be charged with assault and battery. You can be charged with multiple accounts of attempted assault, and it will end up backlashing on you. And this is where I'm going to say personally to
At the same time,
everyone that
different
sees
countries
this,
have different rules.
and I'm going to say this to everyone that sees any kind of video of anything, that read the law of your country, read the laws that you are entitled to, and understand them. It's very important to understand your own laws and your own rights as a human being.
Oh, also, sorry for butting in, but hold up. Can I say something real quick?
Yes.
And this is something that I've had to be talked to about because my school, and I've stated this in previous podcast episodes, pulls random searches, right? Well, on the topic of knowing your rights and stuff, you are indeed allowed to deny any search, especially if you are underage.
As long as it is unwarranted.
If it's
As
unwarranted,
long
yes.
as like, speaking of the state of America, if it is unwarranted search, you can deny it. You are allowed to deny it no matter what. But if it is warranted, you have no choice. You are required by law to allow them to search. This is America that I'm speaking of, not anywhere else in the world. America, if you are warranted to have anyone search you for any means, it can be your house, your car, your bags, it can be your locker at school, it can be your locker at the gym, it can be your locker in the YMCA. And they are, as long as they are warranted to search you, they have all legal right.
But at the same time, even then, there are rules they have to follow with that.
Yes.
You cannot search it without the person being present, if I'm correct.
Not all the
Uh,
time.
Not all the
That
time,
varies
but
between states.
majority of the time.
Yeah.
The same time, at the same time, and I'm gonna go off something that you said right there because what something you said right there clicked with me. Um, it's not all him. Like 9 times out of 10, he can like, and I'm gonna say this because he states it in almost every video he's in. He doesn't care. He does not give a fuck. But at the same time, I respect that because he's not falling in with all these pussy people and snowflakes nowadays who care too
Yeah.
much and are complaining, crying, and whining over every little thing. Because nowadays, and I think what he's really trying to get at is the way men and women are today is not how things should be. And one, I'm going to say this right now, I agree. Because men and women have become pussies, especially, and I'm not targeting anybody here. I'm just saying
Well, we can
there's
leave it at
been
that. That men and women have
multiple,
both turned into pussies.
and he states that on the fucking regular, and he's not wrong.
And
But
I fully
also,
agree with the fact that not caring is good. Yes, like not caring how someone thinks of you, not caring about that, but you should care about how you're making others feel sometimes. When
sometimes that's the key word.
yes, again,
Because
it is a key word, but what I'm saying by this is you should care how others are, as in like a mental sense. Make sure that they're not depressed. Make sure that they're not under any sort of influence, because that can influence how they think. And it would end up turning them, if they are depressed and you do and you say a wrong thing, that could fall back onto you, as in being secondhand, second or assisted suicide. And that
Suicide
would
bombing
lead me into a
is the
topic
way to look at it.
to a whole nother time,
Oh
which
yeah,
we
but at the
probably
same
should talk
time, you
about it
also got to
here.
think about it. But at the same time, you got to think about it. There's so many people. Yes, there are people who are genuinely depressed, and Andrew Tate talks about that as well. It's okay to be depressed, but there's so many people in this world nowadays who fake having depression, and there's so many people who do things only like or act certain ways, do certain things, and say certain things only when it benefits them. And I'm not, like I said, not targeting anybody here, but when like I've seen a lot of videos, and lately there's been this other dude who's sort of the same way, but he's not to the degree of Andrew Tate. His name is Sneeko, and I've seen him react to multiple videos of females, like just interviews of females. And there was this one that I watched actually today, really. And this guy was interviewing a female and caught her red-handed contradicting herself and being a fucking shithead because she's like talking about all this and is like, if you want to approach a woman, do it the right way. And the way she said it was contradictory to everything she said prior. And um he even talks more about this in the video. But the guy who was interviewing her was like, "Well, how would like what would be the right way?" And she's like, "There's a difference between someone going, 'Hey, how you doing?' stuff like that, and 'Hey, how you doing?' like and stuff like that." And the way he states it and the way the interviewer even says it, and she even admits to it, owns up to it, says, "You got me there." She basically meant that the correct way to approach a woman basically be don't be unattractive, don't be any sort of ugly, really.
But that's all
Because, like, you
perspective.
can, that's not really perspective if you think about it, because she even admitted to it and was like, "You got me there," and even laughed it off.
Now,
And
I'm
towards
sorry to
the end
cut
of
you
the
off here,
video, before it,
but being ugly or talking to someone in a certain way is perspective. Some people will think that it's cute to be like that, or some other people may not think it's that way. It's all subjective and perspective. Depending on the person, depending on who you're talking to, and depending on their thoughts are and their thought processing is.
but that's the thing. It wasn't just her being interviewed. There was like two different girls, and eventually, if I remember correctly, more girls started joining in, and they all said the same thing, every single one of them. And um, she even states towards the end of the video before it cuts and says, basically, if you want to approach a woman, don't be ugly. And that
That's what I
is
mean. That's what I mean by
okay,
it's
but listen.
subjective.
But nowadays, almost like at least a good 80-90% of females are that way.
Yeah, but there still are some decent ones.
Yes, there are decent ones. I'm not saying there aren't. I'm just saying 9 times out of 10. all of these females, even popular females, no, no, sorry, especially popular females, 9 times out of 10 will be egotistical and very narcissistic.
Which
And the
will
way
lead
I
me
see,
into a topic here after what you say.
alright, but yeah, and I'm gonna say this right now. The way I see Andrew Tate and any guy who talks about the stuff they talk about is honestly just fed up of all the bullshit. And they are trying to get their point across on how things should be. And if you watch some of the videos on, because Andrew Tate even talks about how things used to be and how much better things used to be compared to how they are now. And he states a lot of good points. I'm gonna be honest. Like, and this is what really made me think to go back and really, really, as like hard and as long as I can, read into all the stuff him and these other guys were saying. And if you like read fully into it, and that's another thing a lot of people don't do is read fully into it. They go off what their mind first thinks of, like what first clicks in their head because of what's been kind of implanted in there from all the bullshit that's been happening from society nowadays. Society has implanted the mentality of being a pussy and being a sheep into the minds of, well, everybody really, except for a certain few who are not afraid to say their opinions. And if I'm honest, that's all Andrew Tate and the rest of these guys do is speak their opinions. Nobody else has to follow them. That's their own choice to follow what these guys say and make everybody else like dislike people such as Andrew Tate and more. I'm not saying that he isn't a complete ass bag at times. He is, but I have looked back through almost any video you could find of Andrew Tate because another thing is I was trying to figure out how someone or how a big group of people could hate someone so much for just words. And I went back in some videos, yes, I understand. Like, oh, I see the way people are seeing this, and I understand why people are feeling this way. But at the same time, I looked like through every possible like meaning that the words and sentences and everything they said could have. And I saw multiple different positive meanings that they were going for, and people are here. I'll put it this way: people will lash out and start dissing and hating people whose opinions they don't really agree with. It's all fully opinion, and people don't like to hear other people's opinions, even though in almost any state or country you go to, everyone has the right to their own opinion.
Yes.
They're no different. Andrew Tate's no different. He's still human. Sneeko, he's no different. He's still human.
And I've always
And
said
you want to know the one common thing that there is between all these people who are being hated on.
they're stating their opinion.
Almost every single one of them are men. I'm serious right here. Think about that. almost any person you see speaking their opinion and getting hate for it. What's their gender identity? Male, right?
I've seen
So there you go.
fifty-fifty.
I've seen on the contrary. I look a lot into these videos because I think they're kind of funny actually. And then I realized that almost 90 to 99% of the people I see catching hate for all of their opinions and for all the things they say are men. I could look up right now, like, a bunch of people who only speak opinion and they catch hate because they're male.
And my main thing
And
about
I can
Andrew
also,
Tate is I don't respect his opinion. Not anymore.
and you're not required to respect his opinion, but just because you don't respect his opinion doesn't mean you have to actually hate him as a person. Because this is all just shit we see in interviews and on
Yeah,
camera.
and that right there was what I was trying to bring up a minute ago. Is that you sit someone down in front of a camera, their entire personality changes. You sit someone down in front of a
Exactly.
camera, they act different. You put a camera into
For all
someone's
for all
face,
we know,
and they're
Andrew
gonna act
Tate could be
different.
saying all this, and he could be out there supporting all the homeless people, all this, all that, without anybody knowing. All right, like I'm gonna be straight up. You see a lot of popular people who aren't exactly who they seem to be. Like, I mean, this is kind of irrelevant, but the whole Michael Jackson ordeal. You know how many people accused him of rape?
Millions.
Exactly. What was his side of the story? He tucked him into bed. He read him bedtime stories. They got cookies and milk, all this and all that. Who's to say all that wasn't true? None of us could certainly say that it's untrue, could we? We weren't there. We didn't experience it. We didn't help participate in reading the bedtime stories or giving the kids cookies and milk or any of that, did we?
No. And that's actually what I'm
We
going
also weren't.
to go into about my YouTube channel here. What you guys see on my videos and what we talk about, I'm not fully there half the time. Like I've shown my true side sometimes, and I've shown who I am. But I'm not fully who I say I am most of the time. On YouTube, on video, I'm completely different than what I will say I am IRL. IRL, I have been diagnosed with chronic depression. I have been diagnosed with severe anxiety, ADHD, almost the whole 9 yards. And I show off what I want people to see because I've never felt comfortable showing off who I actually am because of today's society's standards. Is that if you show weakness, you're never going anywhere. And showing yourself
Exactly.
is the best thing that anyone can do because I show a bit of my true self, like I said, through YouTube to the point where I don't care how people think of me. And I've kept that as my slogan mainly for my entire YouTube channel is you can think of me how you want. Go ahead. It's not going to bother me. I'm going to keep doing my own thing. And I see what Andrew Tate means by everything. And I don't hate him as a person. I hate how he expresses his opinion. because of the fact that he shows way too much, goes way too in depth for topics that the society that he or his community can't fully comprehend. Because his target audience is the younger generation. The younger generation needs to learn for themselves that the world is tough. We can't just go around showing them because they're not going to learn. They don't want to. And that's what's going to end up happening is that us as humans are going to devolve into a point where we're not going to understand anything. And that's where I'm saying that you should show yourself to other people. Show your true side, yes. But also keep some things behind bars. Don't always show it out. It's not always good to be there
Never
doing the
reveal,
same thing
never
day in,
reveal
day
your
out.
hand to your opponent.
And
Have you
again,
ever heard that?
yes, I have heard that. It is like you don't want to show your full self to everyone, but at the same time, you should show off a little emotion here and there because it's healthy to let it out and let it go. But if you do it
But
all the
also the
time,
way
then
some people are raised, the way some people are raised, they are raised in a way where they're taught that if you show emotion, that's showing some sort of weakness, and if you show weakness, people will exploit that at every turn.
because this happens in elementary schools. Now, back in elementary schools, from my knowledge, from what I've actually been able to see, is that you see kids pointing and laughing at the one kid who is crying, saying he's not a big boy. They're not a big girl yet because they're sitting there and crying. So that kid grows up feeling that they need to shut themselves off to the world because that's immediately what their peers taught them.
Exactly.
And that right there is why I feel like we should teach our this next generation, Generation Alpha, because Gen Z is over. Like, there's no saving Gen Z. That there's is that Gen Z has gotten to needs to teach the next generation to not be so bullshit about everything. Yeah, it's
But then
like you can
again,
joke around here and there, but still keep an open mind.
generation, a generation who is like that is already messed up and against each other as a whole, anyways, trying to teach another generation what should and shouldn't be done is actually not a very good idea.
And look where that sparked from. Millennials. I was lucky enough to actually be raised by a millennial who actually knows what the hell is going on in the world. And I'm pretty sure, Caleb, you were too. I'm pretty sure,
Oh
Riot, you
yeah.
too. Is that we all three here, because Jack ended up leaving a bit early, we all three here understand the world as it is. And it's hard to say that we do, even though we don't fully know. But this world has gotten to a point where society will shut you down at every chance it gets. No matter how tough the road is, it will shut you down. No matter how easy the road is, it'll shut you down. And my whole point for just and going harking back to the whole algorithm thing with YouTube is that YouTube will shut you down no matter how easy that road is. Life is going to knock you down. Granted, you may not want it to, but it's how we decide to get back up and handle those things is
things in
what
life
this
never
next
go as we
generation
want
is
to.
going to need to
That's the
learn.
thing. That's the thing that everybody needs to learn is that things in life don't go as you want to go. No, it's all good. I was finishing up real quick what I was saying. I finished. Nah, you good. Oh yeah, I wholeheartedly agree.
Hmm.
Cause we got taught that it's okay to be lesser than another person in skill, whether it be academic or athletic. And we were taught that we don't have to strive for anything because it will all just be handed to us in the end. And that's not what should be going on. That is exactly why I side. That is exactly why I sort of side with Andrew Tate because he is against all of the giving people exactly what they want type bullshit.
See,
That's
now,
about like the
when
only.
I go into that, like I said, I don't fully disagree with him. I disagree with how he's going about it. I disagree with how people are taking it in, and that's on them, yes, but the way he's projecting it to these people is what needs to be looked at for himself. He can't look at this
Maybe
younger
so, but
generation and say that
another
it's
thing,
okay.
sorry to cut you off, but another thing about me is I don't follow in with like any popular thing, and if hating on Andrew Tate is something popular, I'm not gonna follow it anyways. But even if it is like a popular thing that a lot of people do and say others should do, I'm not gonna follow in with that just because other people want me to. Like if someone says, "Oh, like this person's all this and all that, and they're so bad and whatever," I'm gonna look that person dead in their face. And I'm gonna tell them, "Well, that person actually did this, and they're very good." Like, what do you mean? Because just sort of out of spite, if I'm honest, just because I do not like humanity as a whole, mostly because of my generation. Um, second, secondly, because I am a person who honestly, truly understands like all the true meanings that Andrew Tate actually has behind what he's saying. And people can hate me for that all they want. I don't care. I have like my entire city that hates me anyways. I mean, what's like a couple million more people gonna do, you know? I mean, like, I don't give a fuck. I'll sit back, I'll smoke a joint, and I'll drink my brisk iced tea while I fucking chew gum and laugh at your bitch asses. Like, the fuck? Like, you expect me to get
Now,
all torn up and sad over that shit?
I'm
Nah,
gonna
man,
say
I'm good.
this, and be prepared for me to probably go on like a 20 to 30 minute rant, but I
Uh,
personally, I was actually one of the first people to really show signs. I didn't see any videos on YouTube, anything on TikTok, anything about him, about anyone hating him, until about a week or so after I did. I was probably one of the first ones to hate how he's projecting. I was trying to like him. It got to a point where I felt he did not deserve to get all this thought processing towards him, because after I started to hear more about all the stuff that these kids are doing, I'm more blaming these kids than him. Yes, but It's how he's projecting it to these kids that makes these kids think that it's okay. These kids are growing up in a world where they're not able to do much of anything. Yes, but that's because of
But at the
how
same
they're
time, how
being
do they?
raised. It's because of how
But at the
they're.
same time, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but at the same time, who's helping project it that way?
That's where I was getting in, is that these
Society.
kids are listening to society as a whole, yes. But again, like I'm saying, is that it's not helping with these influencers. These influencers are helping more to prove society's standpoints and prove society's worthwhiles to get to this point. It's showing more and more that society as a whole just doesn't give a fuck about each other, and that's the problem. And the more that we look past that, is the more that the more that society is going to tear itself apart. I'm a firm believer in showing who you are to people, yes, but don't show everything. I love the fact, I think it's funny how society can look at someone and say that, oh, this person's worthless. And then everyone else in society that looks up to that one person is going to agree with them. I've never been one to follow trends. I've never been one to look at someone and say, oh, yeah, I agree. I've been one to look at everyone and say, should I trust them? Do I need to trust them? Are they going to hurt me? Are they going to be a detriment onto my life? I look at everything as in absolutes, kind of. And it's not really look at everything in absolutes, it's a look into everything as the way society going against society. I look into more or less of everything as, are we doing the right thing by teaching this next generation what it is? And I'm trying to teach that's what I'm going to teach my kids, is that how I was raised is that you look at people how they look at you. And that's not a good thing in general, the way I explained it, but it's kind of the way that we need to have it. Because treating people how we're if we're treating people how they're treating us, then that creates a very bad loop. You want to treat people with respect, but you don't want to give someone respect until they've earned it. And that's where I say, show someone respect until they prove you wrong. And I've always been a firm believer in that. I've always said that to everyone. I've said that to people at my work. I've said that to people at my schools. I've said that to people that literally just meet me in the streets. I will always show everyone respect until they prove to me that they don't deserve it anymore. And that, and harking again, I'm going to try and transfer off this topic because it will get a bit political and I don't want to go there. Harking onto the topic of you put someone in front of a camera and it changes how they think, changes how they feel. Why on my streams I don't announce to these guys that I'm streaming, because I want them to show their true selves. And it's shown. I've noticed,
I show my true self anyways. I ain't got nothing on.
and I've noticed between the people that I stream with, that when they see or when they find out that I'm streaming, their personality changes. Jerry, Riot, you do change too. Robbie, Hybrid, all of these guys change based on if I am streaming or not. And that's why I don't tell these guys if I'm streaming sometimes. Because I want them to show their true selves. I want them to show who they actually are, not to hide who they are. And like I said, if you put someone into a camera, they're gonna change. They're gonna change drastically, and it's gonna change just like that. Right, this is
Man,
serious.
I
Like,
I done told you like I ain't gonna change who I am for nobody. Fuck me. Like I'm still the
and
same
I'm not
depressed
mentioning
motherfucker I
you.
was
I'm
before.
mentioning the people that I
I
said.
know. I know.
And being yourself, and this is what I want the entire newer generation, if you ever see this video, Generation Alpha, please just be yourself. I
Is
want
that what we
people
actually
to
calling the
actually.
new generation?
Yes, new generation is Generation Alpha. And I want you guys to be yourself. Don't look at someone and say, I need to be like them. I need to do this because they're doing it. I need to do this because of how they're doing it. Be who you are. Be your own person. Care about society and don't care. Do all of it at the same time. Because the generations before you, before us, has worked so hard to where they are. Now I'm going to baby boomers. They work so fucking hard to where they are. Gen X, they worked so fucking hard to get where they are. Not as much as the baby boomers, but they did. And then that generation taught millennials to grow up not having to worry. And guess where that cycle has ended Generation Alpha? Or Generation Z. It's shown that Gen Z is not caring. And I hate that this society has shown that Gen Z is who it is. And it partly to blame for millennials and Gen Z. And Gen Z is going to teach the same thing to this next generation. It's going to be a vicious cycle going down and down into this fucking abyss where we're not able to get out of. Gen Z and millennials have both taught these next generations, these next few generations, that we can't get out of a hole. They've dug our grave. They are the ones that has put it there, and they're saying, here, dig your way out. But they didn't give us a shovel. They threw us into that hole with our bare hands. And even at that point, it's like throwing us into a fucking bottomless pit with plungers. What is the point? You can probably make your way out. And you will eventually. But you have to find how to get out. And that is where Gen Z and Generation Alpha has gone wrong and is going wrong. Because they don't know how to find their way out. They don't know how to understand who they fucking are. And I'm Generation Z. I am Gen Z. I don't care if you guys think what I'm saying is incorrect. This is how Generation Z is being brought up. They don't care. And personally, it's fucking bullshit. How adults are teaching their kids now to live is unacceptable. And personally, I grew up in a toxic household. And I kind of understand where all that came from is because I never got to meet my biological father. I've grew up with a stepdad and my biological mother. My stepdad was the type of person to try and give people everything. He wanted to spoil me and my sister. My mom would not allow it. And to be honest, I agree with her now. After seeing everything in society now as how I see it, we're not getting better. You need to go through hardships. You need to go through the bullshit in your life in order to get to where you are. You're not going to be able to get out by yourself, no. But can you make it better for yourself? Yes. And it all starts with the mind. Now, like I said, I was diagnosed with chronic depression, severe anxiety, and all that, and I'm still thinking this way. Yes, depression, you're never going to get rid of it. You can make it better, as long as you don't let it control your life. And I show such a different side of me on videos, in real life, than what I do when I'm alone. When I'm alone, I've attempted suicide countless times. I've attempted to just die. I've attempted to just blow my brains out because I was scared of letting go. I still am. But I don't show that to people on the internet. I don't show that to my friends. I don't show that to the friends that I've made online. Because I don't want them to worry. I don't want them to look at me as someone who's just who they are. And that's where society has gotten it wrong. I want my kids to learn that it's okay to come to their parents and see that they're not in any real danger when they're talking to the people they love. I've always been scared to talk to my mom. I've always been scared to talk to my stepdad about this kind of shit. Because they'll put you down. And I'm not saying that for every parent, no. But my parents would always put me down, saying, cheer up, it'll be alright, snap out of it. And telling any of that to a depressed person, to someone with anxiety, hurts them. And what I want to say to everyone is do better. Be better. You can do this. You can get through it. But it all starts with the mind and how you take care of it. And I'm going to say this to anyone that feels the same way about this, is that, isn't it funny how the kids in that could read at a 12th grade level in 4th grade are all now depressed and anxious and illiterate? Isn't that funny? How those kids were put down so far to get to the point where they feel like they don't want to talk to anyone, to get to the point where they feel scared to tell anyone their true feelings. It's because of a society's standpoint where they feel like they're not wanted, they're not accepted. And I hate that. Like I said, I want my kids to feel safe. I want my kids to understand that they can come to me and talk to me no matter what. I hate And I'm saying this to anyone out there in chat. Please, if you are feeling this way, talk to any of us. Talk to someone. I may not seem like I care online. I may not seem like I care if you talk to me in person. Trust me, I do care. Caleb cares. Talk to either of us two. We are trying, as a whole, we're trying to make the world a better place. And I know we got into this conversation in the last episode, or in the last podcast, but all this needs to be said. And I hate having to go about this saying the same things over and over again. But if you are feeling depressed, if you are feeling upset in any way, talk to someone. Talk to someone who truly loves you. Talk to someone who you feel like you truly love them. And I couldn't get any more in depth than I am, but as I said, depression hits, and it hits hard. And this could all just be an opinion to you. But what I've always said about opinions is that opinions are like bombs. You drop them, and everyone goes running. Don't let your opinion control how you feel. Don't let your opinion control how your depression hits you. Don't let the people that you talk to don't let the people you talk to feel any sort of way towards you about your opinion. Don't let them get to you about it. Make your own opinion and feel good about it. If you're feeling bad about your opinion, then it wasn't your opinion. If you truly value who you are as a person, you have an opinion, even though you may not realize it. I've gone so long thinking that I couldn't tell anyone anything. And that's mainly what I've used YouTube as. I've used YouTube and Twitch as an outlet to let go of some of this depression, to let go of some of this anger, some of this frustration. Twitch, YouTube, streaming in general, making videos, this is my therapy session. And harking back to our first episode, where Caleb actually mentioned something from NF. In NF's song, Therapy Session, he states that making music is his therapy session. It's the way that he copes with the stress, that he copes with the anxiety and depression.
Yep, and not only that, in another song of his, he states, "Whoever told you that life would be easy, I promise that person was lying to you." Never try and take the easy road. The easy road is always the hardest road. Or it may be the easiest road, but it always comes with a greater cost.
And that's why I've always said, trust in your instincts. Trust in your gut. I've never been more confident about something in my entire life. If you guys feel the need to talk to someone, talk to the people you love. And I mean, talk to the people you truly love. Because there is help out there. It may not be from a therapist. It may not be from a counselor. but you have people that love you and can help you through anything. Those people that would actually take a bullet for you are the people you want to actually talk to. I would take a bullet for any one of the people that you guys see in my videos, that you guys see in the live streams, in anything. I would gladly take a bullet for any of these motherfuckers. Because without it being gay, I fucking love these dudes. These guys are my best friends. Because I grew up with these guys. If need be, I could end up telling them my entire life story. And they would understand and actually feel what I feel. And I hate seeing people who are in a rut, in a depression, who don't want to talk to anyone. It's sad. Because the only way you're gonna get better with yourself is to understand how you think and how you feel. And understanding that is the only way that you're gonna be able to get through anything. Riot, you got anything to add on that? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. No, because it's true. If if anything does not kill you, it will make you stronger. It will make you stronger willed. It'll make you stronger minded. It'll make you stronger hearted.
Yep.
Now, I will say, for me, if it wasn't for these friends that I've made online that I could actually come and talk to every day, you guys would never have seen me on YouTube. You guys would never have seen me on Twitch. Because I would have been dead by the age of 5. You never would have met me. I have been depressed my entire life. I've gotten to a point where I felt like I couldn't go on. And going on like this is another...
Yeah, boys. I might have to get off. I'm getting awful tired, man.
And it's good to understand who people are. Alright, Caleb. Have a good... we're still going. And... so, everyone in chat, say goodbye to Caleb. Have a good night, Caleb.
Yeah, have a good night, too. I'm going to have to open my phone to leave the party. Yeah, I'm over here, goddamn half asleep. Sorry, y'all.
See you, man.
But yeah, everyone have a good night. Yeah, especially after today, bro. I cut a big ass fucking yard. I ain't even gonna go into that right now. But yeah, like what Watcher was saying, it's like probably the last thing I'll say. Probably, if you need it, get help. Even if you don't feel like you need it, get help. Talk to somebody, anybody. Doesn't matter who. Even if they don't try and help you out, then cut them off. Because they don't deserve to be in your life. They ain't gonna try and help you keep it. So, stay strong. Live to fight another day. And I'll see y'all next time, next podcast. Alright, Night Watcher. Alright.
Good night. And with that, that really leads me into a whole nother topic. How music can actually influence someone's feelings. Now, I listen to music a lot, mainly because I'm ADHD and it helps me do tasks, like simple everyday tasks. It actually helps me to listen to music. But I started learning music theory. I started to learn a lot more, and listening to music and just doing my everyday task and everything, I started to learn music and learn what the lyrics of the songs were saying. And Riot, I'm pretty sure you can relate to this. That you've listened to music a lot while we play games and everything. Just listening to music can influence someone's thoughts and feelings a lot. And you shouldn't be planning that. You really shouldn't plan your funeral. you need the people that love you to plan it for you. You don't want to be making a playlist for yourself. You want the people that know you to be doing that for you. Those people are the ones that will know you forever, who have known you for years. Now, one song that it kind of leads back into the last topic. One song that has stayed in my mind. There is one line that will always stay in my head. The song is "Come Hang Out" by AJR. The line is, "Come hang out. You've been wasting your life. Come hang out. You've missed a lot." And a lot of people miss out on everything without even getting a chance to do it. I've made music myself. I don't post them because it's trash, but I do a lot more behind the scenes of YouTube and gaming that most of you guys don't know. I've written songs, I've created games, I've lived my life the way I've wanted to. And that's why I don't care if I'm depressed. Making songs, listening to music has just made me feel a way that most of the time it's pleasant. Because it's, again, another escape from reality. Which is why I play video games all day. As soon as I get home from work, I'm playing video games. As soon as I got home from school, I was playing video games. Because I was escaping a reality where I didn't want to be in. And you can't live your life based off of other people's wanting to be's and shit like that. Live in the moment, but also plan ahead. And the music has taught me to live a life not worrying about your surroundings. There is another song by AJR that always has stuck in my head since their latest album came out, Humpty Dumpty. The very first line is, "When Humpty Dumpty went down, he said, screw it, I'ma smile right through it, and I'll scream when no one's around." That line right there sticks with me every day. Because you don't have to sit there and think that you're alone. And again, this is going to be going back into last topic, but that's what it is. It's what it's become to. We all live our lives certain ways. Some may be to go and find love. Some may go and find other people to talk to. What I do? I'm just living my life. I'm living how people sees me as. and living a way that you're not able to fathom is going to hurt you. I can't say much more because it's true. If you sit there and think you can't do it, then you're not going to. One of Steve Harvey's best lines that I've ever heard from him was, if you take a flea that can jump with a 36-inch vertical, you put that flea into a jar, and it keeps bouncing its head off that jar, off the lid of that jar, it will adjust all the time until it just barely does not touch it. If you put a flea that has never jumped once in its life into that same jar, it will never know its capability that it could jump a 36-foot vertical, or a 36-inch vertical. That jar represents the society. That flea represents you. You get put into a world where you're not able to understand who you are. And when you put others into that same position, it's hard. And I hate thinking the way I do about it, but it's true. Like I said, I have gotten to a point where, in my life, where I look up to certain people, whether it be online, whether it be in person, whether it be just watching videos. You can't live a life where you don't know your own potential. That's where it gets hard for you. That's where it gets to a point you can't understand. And sometimes you might not ever understand, but you have to keep pushing forward to see what's on the other side. And that was one of the toughest lessons I have ever had to learn in my life. To get back up and keep fighting. The road ahead is never easy. The road behind you has already been gone. Going down the road you will encounter your worst fears ever. It's how you decide to take those fears on, is how it's going to continue. And with that, I think that really concludes today's podcast. Right. No. Right. So, again, chat, as he said, next episode we will have another guest on the podcast to get their thoughts, and that's what we're gonna be doing from now on. as you saw with the last podcast, is that we had Jordan, a really good friend of mine, and podcast before that, we had the first podcast, it was just me and Caleb. But starting now, me and Caleb are going to bring in newer people each time. Typically, it's only going to be one. And we're going to get their thoughts and processings of these topics and let you guys decide how things went. But again, with that, that will conclude today's podcast. Hope you guys understand more about our lives as we want to understand how your guys' lives are. And again, please talk to someone. If you need help, talk to someone. Because the road ahead is tough. Just keep getting back up and fighting. And, as always, kinda have to, make sure to check the link in the description below. Go to w.gg. Use code WatcherXC2 at checkout for 10% off your next order. I will see you guys in the next podcast. Bye-bye.